In chapter 1, of course, we have past tense, right? Schools 100 years ago, people used chalkboard to write, right? Teachers use chalk to write on the chalkboard. And in the picture, you can see girls had to wear dresses. Girls wore dresses, right? Boys actually, they used to wear shorts. They wore shorts. Children who misbehaved, they had to stand in a corner, right? Girls wore dresses and boys wore shorts, right? And people used dictionaries to check for spellings and the meaning of the words. People used encyclopedia to check for facts. Also, they wrote in their ink pens. So, Zach, in picture two, why did Zach take out the phone? He wanted to check the time. And what did he see under the desk? He saw a small door, right? Mr. Cunningham got angry with Zach taking out the phone, so he had to stay in the classroom during the lunchtime. So he couldn't go out, and he saw the little door, the small door, and he pushed with his foot and he crawled through the door. And also in this chapter, we talk about used to, right? Used to. And who used to have an imaginary friend? Who used to have an imaginary friend? Angelo used to have an imaginary friend, right? And where did he used to talk to his friend? He used to talk to his friend in his room. And Scarlet School used to be like Edward's School in a reader story, right? Many years ago. And they used to use chalkboards, not whiteboards. They used to use chalk to write. What did the boys used to wear? The boys used to wear shorts. They didn't used to use computers or laptops. Where did the children used to have lunch? They used to go home for lunch. They didn't used to have lunch at school. And did the children used to have pizza and fries? No, they didn't used to have pizza or fries. Hamish the dog. Hamish used to think Angelo was silly. Of course, he learned that uh, he thinks Angelo is really silly because Angelo even tried to talk to his imaginary friend, right? This is a conversation between a grandpa and the grandson. When the grandpa was young, his friend and he used to meet each other. Now, the grandson has cell phones and they text to each other, right? Text. And the grandpa used to talk and go for a walk. But now the grandson chats online and this is how they talk. Grandpa used to play soccer in the park, but now people just play games online. Grandpa used to listen to records, but people just download music. Grandpa used to use an encyclopedia for facts, but now people just use Wikipedia on the internet, right? Grandpa used to write letters from ink pen. Now, grandson just types emails and presses send. On the video call, They can see and talk to each other although they're miles away. And it's really cool, and there's so much to say. And they hope to have another video call very soon. And this is how people just try to communicate with each other, right? And for time capsule, this is a way to show how people used to live in the past, right? So what is a time capsule? A time capsule has different things in it to show how people used to live in the past, right? It's like a little museum in a box. People usually just bury time capsules in the ground, but sometimes they can choose to put the time capsules in space, right? And there's a special time capsule called Westinghouse time capsule that we talk about in this article. It was created in 1939. It's like a message to people in the future. Why do we say it's a message to people in the future? First of all, it was shown at the New York World's Fair before they buried it. The time capsule is still under the ground. What does it have inside this special time capsule? It contains many things like a telephone, a camera, some money, plant seeds, a dictionary, even photographs, even movies or magazines or records, right? Inside the time capsule, there is even a letter written by the famous scientist Albert Einstein. You know, Albert Einstein is a very famous scientist. Is a super famous scientist. And where is it buried? The time capsule is buried in a secret place. We don't know exactly where the time capsule is buried. But how do we find where the time capsule is buried? Many libraries in the world, there's a book with a map of where to find the capsule and the instructions on how to open it in when. 5,000 years later is crazy, right? So, what can a time capsule show? A time capsule can show how people used to live in the past, right? And also, where do people usually bury time capsules? People usually bury time capsules in the ground, but sometimes they're in the space, right? And when was the Westinghouse time capsule created? It was created in 1939, right? It contains many things: dictionaries, plant seeds, money, photographs. But does the time capsule contain an encyclopedia? Let's check out. Telephone, camera, money, plant seeds, dictionary, photographs, movies, records, magazines. Uh-oh, do we see encyclopedia? I don't think so, right? Who wrote the letter in his ink pen for this Westinghouse time capsule? Albert Einstein wrote a letter for the Westinghouse time capsule, right? Okay, good. The boys. We change the sentences to used to. Change it to used to. How do we change it? They write. They used to. They used to write in their notebook with ink pens, right? Okay, write. Change it to used to write. How about the boys wear shorts and the girls wear Dresses. Change it to used to. Boys used to wear shorts and the girls used to wear dresses, right? There are 3 books on the desk. How do you change it to used to? There, be verb. There used to be 3 books on the desk, right? Can we practice past tense, past tense verbs? Nina writes with ink pens. Change it to past tense. How about Nina? Nina wrote with her ink pens. Very good. The boys. We use the same sentences and change it to past tense. The boys wear shorts and the girls wear dresses. How do you change it to past tense? Boys, past tense. Wear, past tense. Boys wore shorts and girls wore dresses. Very good. There are 3 books. Let's change it to two classrooms. 2 classrooms, just like in a book. Okay, 2 classrooms. Okay, change it to past tense. Okay, there are 2 classrooms. There were 2 classrooms, right? There were only 2 classrooms, just like the book. Okay, how about more sentences on used to? Sandy works in a hospital. How do you change it to used to? Sandy used to work or worked. Used to work in the hospital, right? In a hospital. Very good. How about 2 more sentences? David and John, the 2 boys, they don't use earphones. How do you change the used to? David and John, negative. Didn't used to. Very good. Didn't used to what? Didn't used to use earphones. Okay. Grandpa didn't used to use earphones. Grandpa didn't used to download music. How about question? Question. Do you have an imaginary friend? Yes or no? Change it to used to. How do you make a question in used to? Did you used to or used to? Did you used to have an imaginary friend? Very good. Make sure you try to review your student book, your activity book, and other worksheet. And I'll be seeing you right on Monday. Okay, good. So have a nice weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.